I prefer to start off my live chats just reminding people that this case is about Abby and Libby and their families getting justice, and also Richard Allen getting a fair trial, and his family finding out whether or not he truly was involved in these murders. A quick chat overview. To prevent spam in the chat, I have slow mode on, so after you send one message, you have to wait another 15 seconds before you can send another one. All types of opinions are welcome. Just be polite, or moderators will ban anyone who's being rude or commenting negatively about people, either in the chat room or just different YouTubers or whoever, instead of chatting about the case facts, which is what we do in my live chats, not drama from your mama. Click the name of an annoying person in chat to block them. Even me. If you want to block me, just go search YouTube for cat videos. I never see hundreds of comments, so use the chat to talk to other people. In the top of the chat box, it defaults to show top chat, but you can click that to change to live chat to see all comments. I try not to curse, but can't promise anything. I do not highlight comments with curses in them. And at the bottom are explanations of the initials I use in my PowerPoint slide summaries. This week, there were only a couple legal filings. So on Monday, May 6th, the prosecution filed a request for pretrial ruling on admissibility. It was 2 pages long. My summary is: request a ruling as to the admissibility of communications made by Rick to a psychologist at Westville Prison. An outside company provides psychologists and counselors to Westville, and Rick made statements to them. In particular, one psychologist has documented Rick's statements, which McClelland believes fall within an exception to confidentiality pursuant to Indiana Code 2533-117, which sounds like they got it off the back of a fortune cookie. This code is about privileged communications between psychologists and clients and states in part, quote, a psychologist may not disclose any information acquired from persons except under the following circumstances. Number one, trials for homicide, when the disclosure relates directly to the fact or immediate circumstances of said homicide, end quote. The state intends to offer into evidence her reports entitled, quote, Department of Corrections Behavioral Health Suicide Observation, end quote. The state seeks this ruling for the sole purpose of expediting the presentation of evidence during trial, to put the defendant on notice as to the evidentiary exception, and to obtain a pretrial ruling on admissibility. That's the end of that one. So the following day, May 7th, they had a hearing. I got this information from a variety of sources, so if any of it's wrong, just blame them and not me. However, when I first posted this on my community page as the news became public, somebody online said the defense was not prepared to start the trial next week, and apparently that was not true. So the defense did not say they were not prepared. They just did not want Gull to put an end date to the trial with a limit on how many days the defense can present. Rosie has never had a case with a set end date. Gull said that's a shocking reality. Now sit your ass down. What? Oh, she didn't say that. McClelland cut the state's witness list from over 100 down to about 40-something to try and keep the trial starting next Monday, but he was not committing to a set number of days for the state to present their case. Rosie wanted to ask the jury next week if they'd be willing to stay longer than May 31st, which is when it was supposed to end, but Gull said that isn't how it works. Rosie wanted as much time as McClelland had and wanted more than 15 days, or they would file another motion to disqualify Judge Gull in this case. After Rosie consulted with Rick behind the scenes, the defense dropped their request for speedy trial, and Gull set aside 15 days for them, but said they should have spoken up when she set the dates previously instead of waiting until April 30th. So I went back and looked at how these trial dates have kind of unfolded over the course of this case. At the hearing on June 15th, 2023, Gull scheduled from January 8th to the 26th, which is 17 calendar days with Sunday off. On November 2nd, when Libredo and Scremin were Rick's public defenders, Gull reset the case to give them time, 11 months later, starting October 15th to November 1st, which is 16 calendar days with Sunday off. On January 18th, Walden and Rosie were reinstated. So on March 7th, the day after the defense's March 6th speedy trial request, Gull scheduled the trial from May 13th to the 31st, which is 15 calendar days with Sunday off. So 2 months later, at this hearing, she scheduled it for October 14th through November 15th, which is 28 days, including the first 4 days for jury selection with Sunday off. I added here, why didn't the defense ask McClelland on March 7th about how long they each thought it would take, and then asked Gull for more time instead of waiting until 2 weeks before jury selection. In late March is when Allen County sent jury questionnaires to 600 Allen County residents. It just seems to me like this trial length issue could have been addressed a lot sooner. Continuing with the May 7th hearing, Gull said if they can't try the case in 1 month's time, there's something wrong, to which Rosie replied, quote, "You don't know anything about this case," end quote. Some people said Rosie kind of raised his voice and was kind of angry. Someone who was in the courtroom may have also said that Rosie at one point said, "You deny all of our motions without a hearing, so that's why you know nothing about this case." McClelland referenced Rick making incriminating statements in prison, and McClelland wants those sealed from the public. How dare he? The other issues they were supposed to discuss at this May 7th hearing were delayed to May 21st to the 23rd. Gull will not email the defense anymore after they included one of her emails in their recent filing. She will communicate via orders. People in the courtroom said Rick looked confused and did not look at his wife, but she may have been able to see him after the hearing. So on May 7th, Gull issued a one-page order. The summary is, the defense said the scheduled trial dates of May 13th to the 31st are inadequate and waive speedy trial. The state objects as they are ready for trial. Defense motion granted. The jury trial has been reset to October 14th to November 15th. So at the May 21st to 23rd hearing, they're going to review these following things. Defendant's motion to compel and request for sanctions. Defendant's 2 pending motions to suppress. State's motion in limine, and state's motion for ruling on admissibility, all set for hearing May 21st to the 23rd in Carroll County. The defendant's 3rd and 4th request for Frank's hearing will be ruled upon and not set for hearing unless necessary. On May 7th, the defense filed a precipice for transcript, and Andrew Baldwin misspelled precipice. The defense repeatedly says how many years experience they have, and Baldwin has over 30 years of experience, yet he can't properly spell a common legal term. The summary is, it was a request for the May 7th hearing transcript. So Baldwin misspelled it up here, also here. Back in February 2024, Rosie filed a similar precipice for transcript, and he spelled it correctly. He wanted the transcript for the June 15th hearing. However, the court reporter replied that she had already sent it a few months earlier on October 2nd, so that's fun. So I don't know what's going on with the defense team. Obviously, McClelland makes his own mistakes. On May 8th, David Hennessy, who works with the defense, filed a petition to strike gratuitous and demeaning, he forgot the last N, it's supposed to be demeaning, commentary and or findings from contempt order. It was 2 pages long. The summary is, on January 29th, McClelland filed for contempt by Baldwin and Rosie. Despite McClelland's failure to follow procedure, the court afforded him a hearing. The only issue before the court was whether McClelland could prove Baldwin and Rosie acted willfully and intentionally in relation to purloined discovery materials and accidentally misdirected email and violating a gag order. Gull ruled that McClelland failed to meet his burden. Gull's reference to the preponderance of the evidence standard was unnecessary and not applicable to the issues raised. Several attorneys testified that Baldwin and Rosie conducted themselves properly. Gull has no experience representing a citizen accused of committing a crime. Gull's commentary on sloppiness, negligence, and incompetence are outside the issues, not supported by the evidence, gratuitous and unnecessary, demeaning, and have no legitimate purpose in relation to the court's order. In relation to Baldwin and Rosie's motions, Gull usually issues an order, quote unquote, denied without hearing. The lack of such brevity with the contempt order illustrates the gratuitous nature of the demeaning comments. The comments are another exhibition of Gull's bias against, disdain for, and animus towards defense counsel. It is additional cause for recusal, aka for her to get off the case. The defense counsel wants Judge Gull to remove the offending language and reissue the order. On May 9th, there was a jury duty update filed on Twitter, which was a public notice by the Allen County Court. The summary was, individuals called for potential jury duty were to have appeared the week of May 13th to the 17th for the defense and prosecution to talk to them to see who would end up on the jury. Those individuals are no longer required to appear since the trial got delayed. Individuals who received summonses for the May trial date will not be called again for the rescheduled trial in October. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Happy Mother's Day to anybody who's celebrating. It's about 2 scandals there. Dan Da asked, how long is this going to last, this live chat? I said under 90 minutes, but I'm probably going to try and do under 1 hour since there's not a lot of updates this week. Also, next Saturday and Sunday, I'm almost certainly not doing live chats. As I referenced here, May 21st, 22nd, 23rd, there are 3 hearings in Carroll County. I'm probably going to try and do recaps on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then maybe the following Saturday, I'll do the member chat, and Sunday, the public chat. Hi, Salty Beach. Hi, everybody. Shouldn't Judge Gull have ruled on the admissibility of the Odinist quote-unquote evidence first? If not admissible, I don't think they would need as much time as Rosie thinks. Too late now. Like, why didn't anybody else think of that? Yeah, I think they should have just consulted with each other to say, like, how much time does the state need? How much time does the defense need? Instead of just waiting until 2 weeks before jury selection to file like some kind of notice that they're concerned the defense would not have enough time to present. But why does Rosie need 2 weeks for the defense? Like, what are they going to be presenting? Whenever I say that, what is the defense going to do to prove Rick's innocence? People say, Tom, you idiot. Only the state has to prove that Rick is guilty. The defense does not have to prove that Rick is innocent. However, what would the defense need 15 days for? Also, if the prosecution says, here's a video of Rick at 1:27 p.m. or whatever, the Hoosier Harbor Store camera, a car resembling his headed towards the direction of CPS. And then these, like maybe these girls near the trailhead or whatever, the Freedom Bridge entrance, are going to say, yes, we passed a man resembling Rick around 1:30. What is the defense going to do to say that Rick was home? As far as I've not seen any kind of alibi for Rick not being at the trails between 1:45 or 1:30 and 4 p.m. Other than the defense in the Franks memo said, witness 4 saw a car from the 1960s at 2:15-ish. Rick does not have a car from the 1960s. That means that Rick was home. That's not a great alibi for me if I'm on the jury. Hi, Miss Dog Lover. Thank you for loving my presentations. Hi, Caricature Contest. Her son graduated from Purdue University on Friday, and they drove by Delphi on the way home. Abby and Libby would be college graduates, graduation age too. Yeah, would they be juniors this year or ending their junior year? Aloha, Kevin. Kevin doesn't understand why Gull just could not add another week to the May date. Why a firm end date anyway? How can anyone predict the length of testimony and evidence examinations? I agree to the second half of it, but I think, as she said, they had already sent out these jury questionnaires to people saying, are you available May 13th to the 31st? And Rosie's like, well, can't we just ask them next week if they have an extra week free, or week or two? Maybe. I think said almost 400 out of the 600 people were going to show up starting tomorrow for 4 days to start the prosecution and defense asking them questions to figure out who they would want to be on the jury. Out of those 400, I'm sure there would have been some people who would have said, yes, I have no life. So too late now. We have to wait. Well, not we, but unfortunately, the families and Rick is going to be in prison for another 6 months at least. And his family, his wife, somebody said his wife and mom were crying a lot after the trial got delayed another 5 months in this past Tuesday's hearing. So his wife and his mom and his daughter and other people, like the townspeople of Delphi, also have to wait 6 months to figure out what all the evidence is against Rick. Hi, Amy. Yes, as soon as I saw that, I was like, uh-oh, what do I do now? But Miranda, fix your sound issues. Hi, Anna. Yeah, I'm obviously triggered by grammatical errors. In Idaho, an attorney made a crazy filing with so many misspellings The judge mentioned it in court. This is the Chad Daybell trial? Yeah, I'm not following that one, luckily, or else I would have been triggered also. Yes, I'm wearing stripes today. Kevin says, why not put Rick in an undisclosed house arrest? Electronic ankle monitor, security, 2 years in prison for an unconvicted man is outrageous. Well, the Carroll County rules, and I think maybe Indiana in general, if somebody's charged with murder, you do not get bail or bond. You have to stay incarcerated. And some of these trials do not happen for years, unfortunately. And obviously, waiting 2 years to get your chance in court to, I can't say that prove that he's innocent, because you guys will say he doesn't have to prove he's innocent. But yeah, 2 years is horrible. However, the state of Indiana says he murdered 2 kids. So we'll have to wait and see how it all turns out. Why, if he's so concerned about not being in prison for another 6 months, delaying the trial. Obviously, the defense needs to be as prepared as possible and also have as many days as necessary. So I do understand that aspect of it. But as Salty Beach said before, the user, not the loser. What happens if the defense can't even present this alternate odinous theory? What is the defense going to present to show that the odinists were involved? I've not seen enough evidence in the Frank's memos from the defense or their other motions to really show me that any of these odinists were on the trails that day. And they have not shown me that Rick was not gone from the trails at 1:30. They need to. Hi, everybody, for joining. Hi, Crushing on LA. That's the first time I've seen you. Hi, Danda. Did the trial get delayed? Yes, October 15th. Either October 15th or 14th to November 14th or 15th. So it's like 28 total calendar days. Probably Monday through Saturdays. Amy says, I feel like an alibi, receipts, etc., would take a minute, maybe a couple hours. Well, it doesn't seem like Rick went to, as I've said previously, it's not like he left the trails at 1:30 and then went to the McDonald's in town for lunch and has a credit card receipt to show I got McDonald's at whatever, 1:39 p.m. It's going to be interesting to find out what he did that entire day, if he's innocent and or guilty. What does the defense have to show? What does the prosecution have to show? There's a rumor that Rick went to his mom's house. I'm not sure exactly where she lives, not in Delphi. Obviously before he went to the trails. This is just a rumor. I have no other details. Hi, Big Fish, Small Pond. How long have similar cases taken? Well, didn't Judge Gull this past week say, I've tried a lot of murder cases with multiple victims in a short amount of time? I don't know. Luckily, I don't follow true crime. Hi, Chicos. It seems there's a complete breakdown of professional relationship between them. Exactly. Everybody, the defense and prosecution and Auntie Gull, between them. And all that's why nothing is being negotiated like it normally would. Good point. And who is suffering because of that? And who's responsible? I mean, didn't McClelland say, I forget why McClelland said he did not want to, did he say he didn't want to talk on the phone anymore with the defense? He wanted everything in writing? And Gull is mad that the defense included one of her private emails in their recent filing. Hi, SP74. Why do you think the defense wants to do this third-party defense instead of just attacking the investigation? Maybe, obviously, the investigation was extremely flawed. There are so many things that the defense can bring up. However, what does the state have that is very good evidence against Rick that they feel they were warranted to upgrade his charges to not say that he's just bridge guy, but to say he's the killer also? I don't know. I just don't understand what the defense is thinking. Obviously, they want to take attention away from Rick and these supposed confessions, but I've not seen enough evidence that these Odinists were involved in the murders, or Ron Logan or Kagan. I think those are next week, part of this is what's going to be debated. I guess the defense is going to have to present why they should be allowed to mention Odinists as possible suspects in this case. And also, I guess McClelland has this motion in limine, which is going to, what is it going to do? I don't know. I forget what it's going to do. I have it somewhere. Let's see. Can I look it up real quick? No, I can't. Sorry. We'll figure it out. Hi, Peter. Do you think, Peter B, not Peter E, do you think there is DNA to Alan? If not, can he be involved? Killer must have left some. Well, according to the defense back in September of last year in the Franks memo, they said there's no DNA that connects Rick to the crime scene. You say the killer must have left some DNA. However, in the bridge guy video, everything is almost covered up. And he has something on his head. Rick said he wore a head covering plus a hood, which would maybe cover his hair. So I'm not familiar with like how these murders go down with how easy it is to transfer DNA. But if bridge guy, whoever he was, planned this in case whether it's not just specifically against Abby and Libby, but just in case he ran into two girls or whoever, we all see that he has some kind of items in his jacket. So did he bring gloves to not transfer fingerprints or DNA? We don't know exactly what kind of DNA was found at the crime scene yet. That does not match Rick. I've said a few times, what if one of the friends of Abby and Libby just touched their sweatshirt and that is like the DNA, like touch DNA or something like that, that was at the crime scene? Stay tuned. But also, doesn't the defense want to hire a DNA expert? Didn't they say they need money for a DNA expert? So even if Rick's DNA does not match the crime scene, if he truly was involved, did he go back to his car at CPS, put some kind of item in his trunk or somewhere, and Abby and Libby's blood and DNA transferred to his car, and the prosecution has that evidence? Also, there was a total of 5 samples taken from Rick's car. So we'll have to wait and see what those were all about. Hi, Sub Rosa. The breakdown of professional relationship is a direct result of the behavior of the defense team. They caused the problem by leaking photos and trial strategies repeatedly. Yeah, well, the defense isn't happy with McClelland and the state and law enforcement at all because they've taken a long time to turn over discovery evidence, which people say there's a variety of opinions on each side. There is some like thing where they do not have to turn over evidence and discovery until 15 days before the trial starts. So technically, McClelland was not late, although there was that November 1st deadline last, a few months ago. And McClelland said he turned over everything, but he still kept turning things over. And the defense kept saying, we still don't have certain things. So the defense is frustrated with Gull and McClelland also. This has not been a good example of law enforcement and the judicial system and attorneys for me. Hi, Miranda. Did they move Rick back to prison? Yes, he went to Allen County Jail for one night. And then I guess he went back to Wabash Prison. Because I think it's like maybe 3-hour drive, so they just wanted to lessen the commute that morning of the hearing. Yeah, there's some kind of rule. SP 74, didn't Gull cite some rule that prohibited the extension? Hi, Duchess. Yes, she cited Rule 4. I think there was some kind of discussion about Rule 4, and maybe it did not apply. I was too busy to look it up. Hi, Jane from the country. It's been over 7 years and another 6 months delay. Yeah, I feel horrible for the families of everybody involved. Big fish, small pond. Can we read that rule? I don't have it. Sorry. You can Google it. Kevin says, I can see a reasonable defense for Rick because the evidence presented against him is largely circumstantial. I hope there is car or phone data, blood, something more definitive. Well, it seems like McClelland is very confident in his case. Also, Holman, I've referenced this a few times. If you remember in the Franks memo, there's that list of 7 items that the defense said, like no DNA connects Rick to the crime scene, no social media, something about his phone also. However, even though Holman said, yes, that's true, he also said to the defense in that same August 2023 deposition, something came up, and Holman said to Baldwin and/or Rosie something along the lines of, why don't you ask your client, Richard Allen? He's the one who killed the girls. So despite all that the good evidence or lack of evidence showing that Rick is innocent, what does Holman know that points towards Rick being guilty? Taco Bell time. 27 minutes. We might be done in 30 minutes today. Hopefully people are out and doing better things. Stay pressed, Delulu Bishes. Attorneys appearing before judges must be respectful, even if the judge is a woman. It's expected and professional. Yeah, people said that Brad Rosie was like screaming fairly loud and being disrespectful. I guess he's kind of frustrated about what's been going on for the past year and a half. Sub Rosa, Rick did not have to be incarcerated for 2 years. His defense team could have opted for a speedy trial from the get-go. I wonder how much. I'm very curious to know, like, how much Rick has participated in his own defense. I am very interested to see, which I'm never going to, but at least at Westville, Rick's cell has been under video surveillance all day, every day, with no microphone. But is it going to show that Rick is in his cell looking at evidence and showing, like, trying to figure out what the state has against him and how he can help prove that they're wrong? If Rick is getting a lot of evidence, which we heard that he ate some papers and it's just sitting in his cell and he doesn't even look at it, do you think that shows that he's more guilty or innocent, or is he just expecting his attorneys to do all this work? I would definitely be reading it. If you grew up, but he lived in this town of Delphi for 11 years before the murders happened. If you're innocent, wouldn't you be curious to know, like, what kind of evidence law enforcement collected and what they have against you? I'm sure that the defense team in their meetings with Rick go over, like, the main points, but I mean, if you're in your prison cell for 23 hours a day, don't you want to, like, do something different than crossword puzzles? Hi, Kay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I hope you're not mad at me from yesterday, the member live chat. I appreciate you. Stay pressed, Delulu Bishes. Thank you so much. I also appreciate you. I don't know what your picture is, though. What? Hi, Knockface. Thank you also. Do you have any information on Rick's supposed online alias, Craig Ross Renfro? I've seen some chatter about this recently, but not much substance. Yes. So when he was first arrested, there's like an online, I don't know, document, and it showed like Rick's, I don't know exactly what it was for, but it was like an official document. And under aliases, it said that name, Craig Ross Renfro, which some people looked up online, and he is a person in Indiana. The general consensus online seems to be it was a clerical error. I roll, like another thing that police messed up. So, as far as I've seen, there's no connection whatsoever. However, nobody's really found any online presence by Rick at all. So, we're going to have to wait for the trial to find out what law enforcement found. What was Rick up to online? Like, what do people do with their free time if they're not online? Somebody please give me suggestions to not host live chats. Hi, Gwen. Thank you. Hi to your dog also. Happy Dog Mother's Day. Hi, Oscar. Yes. Oscar may have watched one of my. Did you watch my 7 hour and 5 minute Frank's Memo video? I haven't. Anyway, this is a point that I brought up a few times. So in the Frank's Memo, page 22, page 22, footnote 15, it's this made up quote by the defense where they were, I don't want to say complaining, but they were saying that Rick does not feel comfortable saying certain things because the Odinist guards were holding a video camera in his direction when he was meeting the attorneys. Therefore, Rick did not feel comfortable saying something along the lines of fake quote, the guards are threatening to kill my family or something. Sorry, I don't remember it exactly. Unless I call my wife and tell her I killed those girls, end quote. So I've said, why would the defense even make this fake quote? And I'm curious to know, as Oscar said on April 3rd, when Rick called his wife, did he say the phrase, I killed those girls? And so the defense needed to find a way to take attention away from their client admitting to being the killer. Stay tuned. I got off track here. Let's see. Sub Rosa thinks that Rick wants to confess, but his lawyers want fame and fortune. I'm very curious to know, like, what kind of discussions the attorneys, Bald and Rosie, have with Rick. Are they even bringing up, like, bro, why are you telling up to 30 people that you were involved or something? Why are you making these statements? Obviously, according to the defense, some of these quote unquote confessions have false facts, like Rick saying he shot them in the back. We'll have to wait and see. Hi, Di DZ. Watch the road. Hi, Lily. Hi, Sunday Soapbox. I think the officer who arrested Rick jumped the gun. This case needed a grand jury and special prosecutor. Well, I don't think it was just one officer who arrested Rick. It was the Unified Command. It was Tony Liggett was technically the one who wrote the arrest warrant. He was at the time, he was not current. He did not win the sheriff's election of Carroll County yet. But also, like, Jerry Holman was involved. Nick McClelland had to approve this arrest to show that feeling like he saw enough evidence that he could prosecute it successfully. So that's that. I do think there was enough evidence in that PCA to be concerned. Like, Rick, his house and car need to be searched. A lot of people talk about this Frank's memo, or Frank's 1 through 4, and they seem to like forget the second half of the requirement from what I've seen. Like, the Frank's hearing request is to say that Liggett included false information in the affidavit to search Rick's house. Also, it has to be reckless and like with reckless disregard for the truth or something. And then without those supposed lies, the second half of it is, was there still enough in that PCA for Judge Diener to say, okay, I feel like there's enough that it warrants searching this guy's house? I felt like there was enough in there without like the supposed lies. Hi, Miranda's daughter. Your mom's a nice person. Be good today. She's like, shut up, old man. All right, sorry. Hide this account. Thank you. Kevin says the Odinist EF, BH, PW are certainly suspicious and have circumstantial links to the crime. The BH Facebook postings could come out of a horror movie. I agree. There are certain suspicious things about these three people, especially EF telling his sisters that he essentially was at the crime scene. But at least when he said that to one of them, the sister said he was rambling and incoherent. And then the other sister met with police 3 times, and the first 2 times she didn't say anything about him saying incriminating statements until the third time he said, I don't forget exactly which sister said what. But why would his sister lie twice to police and then the third meeting say, okay, yes, he said this stuff? We'll see. I guess May 21st to the 23rd, we might find out more information that the defense feels they have against these Odinists to show they were there. Good luck. And what's going to happen if Judge Gall denies the Odinists being referenced at the trial? Kagan, Ron Logan, what is the defense? What's their next step? To try and get Judge Gall removed? Will they appeal whatever her decision is if it doesn't go their way? What are they going to say at the trial if they can't do reference the Odinists and stuff? Hi, Nevada Tan. The third-party defense is basically, hey, look over there. Well, what are they going to present that is going to make the jury look over there enough to overlook everything that's going to be presented against Rick to show that he was there? We'll see. Oops. Big fish, small pond. How long do people keep transaction history? I guess if you use cash, you're burnt. I'm guessing if they had asked at the beginning when he came forward, alibi is easier. What did y'all wear and do 7 years ago? Well, I think this day was a huge day in the town of Delphi, obviously, where 2 girls get murdered. Rick would remember if he went to lunch at McDonald's after he went to the trails. Hi, T Genius. Thank you. Hi, Janine. Thank you for becoming a member. I'll see you in the next member chat. Kevin says, I think Gull will refuse the third-party defense. This may be a blessing in disguise for the defense. The jury may not likely buy the onus theory. Focusing on law enforcement incompetence, defense could win. Yeah, as I said before, there's a lot of incompetence that the defense can bring up. Also, the young bridge guy sketch, which looks obviously nothing like Rick. We'll have to wait and hear what witness 4, who is the source of that young guy sketch, what she says on the stand. Sub Rosa, the mental gymnastics required to believe that Rick is innocent tuckers me out just thinking about it. Yeah, I've not come to a final decision. I'm waiting for the evidence, but there's a lot of stuff that does point towards Rick as being at least not on the trails from noon to 1:30, as he said. I'm open for, I don't care. Like, I don't need other people to think the same as me. So, although it does seem like people who think he's innocent, it's like every single thing that points towards Rick, they either have like an excuse or they ignore like these kind of important questions that need to be answered, especially about like Rick being on the trails noon to 1:30 and he never saw the four girls. He never saw Bridge Guy park as he left CPS. All right, next. Hi, Jay White. Is that one of your office manager shirts? Yeah, sure. Why not? What are we at? 40 minutes, maybe 19 more minutes. Nevada Tan, I think DNA is really quick to degrade when it's exposed to the elements. Obviously, yeah, their bodies were out there for 22 hours. Janine says, reasonable doubt is what they are aiming for. We'll see what the state has. Knockface is very curious about the two molestations Rick admitted to during his previous confessions. I wonder if any of those have been corroborated. Yes, he said he molested, I think, Abby and Libby and other people, and the defense even said he named names. So I don't know. One of my issues with trying to figure out, is Rick innocent or guilty? Why is he supposedly making up to 30, whatever, talking to 30 different people at Westville, guards, inmates, the warden, possibly not just talking to the warden, but actually getting a piece of paper, writing on it, and writing incriminating statements, which to me is kind of different than just rambling while speaking, like I always do. Why is this man repeatedly telling strangers, I'm a horrible person who molests and kills kids? Like, is that really a common sign of somebody who's going through psychosis due to being in prison against their will? Just seems kind of odd to me. So we'll have to wait and find out. Obviously, I doubt these other people who were named. I'm very curious to know what his connection was to these other people he said he molested. I think it was just people, not specifically girls or women or whatever. Stay pressed, Delulu Bishes. It's not really about Richard Allen. The anti-state position originates from personal grudges against Carroll County and law enforcement in general. Yeah, my thing is I only really cared about who was Bridge Guy, and hopefully he'll be held accountable one day. I don't really care about, I don't want to say I don't care about corruption, and it does not have some kind of effect on the outcome of proving whether or not Rick was guilty. But I mostly just care about who was Bridge Guy. Hi, Candace. It's pretty obvious that Richard Allen confessed to Holman. See item 40 in the defense motion to suppress. McClelland also said he confessed to multiple ISP officers. Yeah, McClelland said he confessed to 16 guards or six, I don't know, I forget. It was like almost 30 total people at Westville that Rick has made incriminating statements to. However, why does the defense want to get rid of the October 26th interview with Holman, as Candace says here? The quotes that the defense included in one of their recent filings, to me, it seemed to show like Rick was innocent. It was not like really pointing towards his guilt. However, I think the total talk time was 60 minutes or so over like a 2 hour and 41 minute period from the start of the video, including smoke breaks and stuff like that. So what did Rick say? That the defense team does not want to be heard by the jury. If he was saying like, I'm innocent, wouldn't the defense want that to be included? I think the main thing that people have talked about is during that October 26th discussion with Holman, I guess Holman said, have you ever let anybody borrow your gun? Rick said no. Have you ever been on Ron Logan's property? Rick said no. So at the trial, when the state has an expert on the stand saying this unspent round found next to these dead girls' bodies matches Richard Allen's gun, I guess the defense doesn't even want Rick's statement saying, I never let anybody borrow that gun, and I was never on Ron Logan's property. Could it be as simple as that? Or was there other things that he said that were even more damaging to his innocence? Janine says, if he was innocent, we would know by now, or he's the unluckiest guy ever. I can't say I disagree. Barbie says, it is obvious that both the prosecution and the judge think the defense is not working in good faith. They lie a lot. Well, some people would say that McClelland and Gull do the same thing. Hi, Charlotte. Candace says that the defense is complaining they can't find discovery materials because they are disorganized. Well, they're also saying that the prosecution is giving them obviously evidence that's late, and it is not organized, and there's certain things missing, and I don't know. I think some people say it's not up to the prosecution or the state to organize evidence. As the defense gets it, they should be organizing it however they want to. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate it. You've given me enough. Thank you. I don't want to be rude, but save your money for Taco Bell. Speaking of Taco Bell, what are we at? Am I really going to stop in 12 minutes? We'll see. Hi, Junior. If I was accused of a double murder and were innocent, I'd be screaming, let's go to trial. I agree, but whenever I say something like that, people get triggered and say, no, you would not. Kevin says, you can't predict a jury. Ever hear of OJ? Unfortunately, yes, but the OJ trial, I saw this when he died. It lasted 9 months. It was one of the longest trials in American history. I Love Lucy was preempted for 9 months. All right. Sorry, I'm just looking for different topics. Hi, Rescue All the Dogs. Hi, Simon. Thank you for your nice comments about me the other day. Jay White, I would love Tom's take in the Karen Reed case. Total cop cover-up. I try and avoid these other cases because I get obsessed with them. I'm not sure what to think. I have spent maybe 2 hours total on the Karen Reed case. It seems weird to me that somebody in the house supposedly looked up how long does it take to die in the cold before the body was even found outside. Also, the cuts on the victim's arms seemed not consistent with getting hit by a car. But I've not really been following the trial at all. Hi, Lily. The timeline doesn't add up. Yeah, word up. Rick saw 3 girls, but there were 4. Do we know when the 3 girls were there? Did you watch? Like, I don't recommend watching any of my videos. However, I think one of the most important ones is this video I made. How did Richard Allen not see the 4 girls or Bridge Guy? Because as Lily says, the timeline does not add up. Do we know when the 3 girls were there? That's one of my things. I don't think that there was a group of 3 girls at noon. So law enforcement had this tip from 2017 where it says this man, Richard Allen, Whiteman, which was wrong, obviously, said he was on the trails 1:30 to 3:30. They finally get to talk to Rick on October 13th, 2023. And he says, I was there noon to 1:30, and I passed 3 girls around the start of the trail right after Freedom Bridge Circle. Liggett knew if there were who was on that trail that entire day. He knew if there was 3 girls at noon. And as soon as Rick said that, if Liggett knows there was not 3 girls, then he's like, this guy is lying. That's one reason why we should arrest him. So we're gonna have to wait until the trial to hear if there were or were not 3 girls at noon. In my opinion, there were not, and that's why police arrested Rick, one of the reasons. But I was thinking this 2017 tip, even though whatever, there's such a drama about them not following up on Rick, but it said potential follow-up, who were the 3 girls? It doesn't seem to me like law enforcement even followed up on those 3 girls. Because if a cop has a follow-up item that says who were 3 girls, essentially said around 1:30 to 3:30, not noon. But if you like talked to 3 girls, wouldn't you ask them who did you pass? I don't know. It doesn't add up to me that law enforcement even followed up on who were the 3 girls. Total disaster. Hi, Mary Margaret. Isn't the defense now saying they had not seen all the discovery? Yes, they've been complaining about that for a long time. And McClellan said, technically, I think he only has to turn over whatever the state is going to present in the trial and any kind of evidence that is exculpatory, which means somebody else was involved. However, McClellan has said in filings they do not have any exculpatory evidence showing that Rick is innocent. So he said he has turned over pretty much everything from the 5.5 years to 7-year investigation. And that's why there's like 26 terabytes and why it's taking so long, partially. But I agree with the defense. It's not acceptable that law enforcement has had some of this evidence since literally the first few days, and it's taken over a year and a half since they started, and they still had not gotten it. That ain't cool. Hi, Babu's Frick. Rosie would not have treated Gull like that if she was a man. I don't know. We're only getting like secondhand information, so we'll see. Yeah. So the defense, I guess, Baldwin stood up at some point this past Tuesday and said they were going to file to have Judge Gull recused again, but they have not filed anything in the 3 days after. So we'll have to wait and see. Oh my God. Hi, Lori. We're at 53 minutes. I might go another 6 minutes. We'll see. How far behind am I? Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. Hi, Ivy Push. I'll do like a few more comments, then everybody's dismissed. Try meditation. What? Oh, to get off the internet? Hi, Mustang. Hi, living vicariously at Home Depot. Have you ever seen that pic of Rick's daughter laying down in the Abby and Libby tribute tie-dye shirt? Yes, I did. That was on Rick's wife's Facebook. There's a picture of his daughter. I think she was 22 years old at the time of the murders. And I guess she's on maybe her bed at home or Rick and his wife's bed. And I guess the mom took a photo of her. And it looks like she's wearing a tie-dye t-shirt that may have been the Abby and Libby Memorial tribute shirt. I wonder how she got it and how Richard felt about it. Yeah. Well, if he's guilty, obviously it would be extremely uncomfortable. Also, Rick, I guess Libby's aunt came into the CVS a few days after the killings and processed photos for Libby's memorial, and Rick said it was on the house, like no charge. I don't know. So I'm very curious to know about his interactions with people at CVS, friends and family, because if you were innocent, wouldn't you be telling like all of your coworkers and friends and family, I was at the trails until 1:30, like 45 minutes before a kidnapper murdered these two girls? I mean, I would be talking about it a lot to everybody I know to say, yeah, I was actually there. How many people did Rick say that to? We've heard like maybe somebody at JC's bar, which is like, I think it was in Delphi, where Rick and his wife would go play pool, if you've seen those photos or videos. And within like a day or two, I guess the screenshots of Bridge Guy came out on the night of February 15th. And either that night or the next day, I guess Rick's friend from JC's bar, I don't want to say his name, but there's like a Facebook screenshot of him saying that guy came forward and he's been cleared. And people wondered, did Rick tell people at the bar, I was there? And law enforcement said, okay, you're not involved. Obviously, law enforcement never went to talk to Rick again. So I'm sure his friends, family, coworkers, if they had any kind of suspicions, day after day, month after month, Rick never got arrested. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to know if any of these other people, like his friends and family and coworkers, are testifying. I thought it was interesting that McClellan said he cut down his witness list from around 118 to 40 something. Who got cut? Kevin says if the defense team heard Rick legitimately confess, why wouldn't they just plead this out, save themselves on this torturous legal mess? They believe him innocent. There must be good reasons. Curious what? Why is the prosecutor saying he's the murderer? Why is like one of the lead investigators saying he's the murderer? And why is the defense saying they only have evidence that shows he's innocent? However, why is the defense also trying to hide everything found at his house, everything that he said and wrote while in custody, and everything from the October 26th interview? To me, that doesn't show innocence if I'm on the jury. But obviously, the jury won't know exactly what's been not allowed at the trial. Hi, Mustang. Rick said he shot them in the back on purpose to make it look like he did not know what happened to the girls. Yeah, some people wonder, were his first quote unquote confessions true? And then he realized, oh crap, that's not going to help me get found not guilty. So he continued confessing to, that's why he maybe confessed to up to 30 people with false information to act like he's not truly guilty. We'll have to wait till the trial to hear everything he said, unless Judge Gull allows it to be suppressed. All right, like a few more minutes and then we're excused. Hi, Yoga for the Ageless. Why do you care about who is Bridge Guy? Because he's involved in the murders of these two girls. Dirk Keeler? Sorry if I mispronounced that. The girls gave us a photo of the killer. Now it is up to us to solve the case. At quietly concerned. Thanks for your answer. You're right. Bad quality. I don't know what that other part was. Sorry. I'm 15 minutes behind. I'll do 3 more comments and then we're done for today. Yeah, I'm fine with Judge Gull getting replaced. There are former Indiana Supreme Court justices who are now special judges in Indiana who could take on this case. And I'm fine with Judge Gull being removed. Stay pressed. Delulu Bishes says a new judge would probably make the same rulings and the shrieks of conspiracy would continue. I don't think Gull has followed procedure on certain things, and it's taken her way too long, like to rule on some of these defense motions and even some of the prosecution's motions. So I'm fine with her going bye-bye. Hi, Penn Garth. Whatever happened to the arguing couple? They got divorced. No. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think they were involved in this at all, so people haven't really talked about them. At some point, I guess people thought the male part of arguing couple saw bridge guy leaving the trail, but it turns out I'm almost certain that was the flannel shirt guy, one of the McCain brothers. Ivy Push, the three girls that were together took a photo with a timestamp that shows the bench. Well, there were four girls at 126. They took the bench 2 photograph at 126 with the two sisters on it. So there were four girls, but the younger sister may have been walking behind two of the older girls as Bridge Guy entered the trail. So she did not get a good look at him. So she was not included in the PCA with her description because she didn't really see him. These same four girls took a photo at 12:43 of the High Bridge. Rick would have gotten to the platform 1 of High Bridge at around 12:20 if he parked at CPS around noon. So where's Rick in this photo? These girls walked past all 6 benches between whatever time, at least 12:30. They walked past all 6 benches on their way back around 1:15, I guess, to 1:30. They never saw Richard Allen. He said he sat on a bench after he was on the bridge. So that does not add up to me. Hi, Ruckus Rocks. Incriminating statements are not always quote unquote, I did it. Correct. McClellan doesn't seem to want these quotes to come out. He seems to be waiting for the trial to reveal it. I don't know what that strategy is about. I know all of us want to judge exactly what these quotes are. Hi, Luna Blue. Thank you. But no, thank you. I only care about like solving a case, and I've spent so much time on Delphi and Missy Beavers and like not helped solve it. So it's kind of a waste of time, to be honest. All right. Didn't I just say 3 more comments? I'll do 3 more for Mother's Day. Hi, the Saint. Rick's own words and the 3 girls' time-stamped pic are his downfall for his changed alibi. It would be nice if the conservation officer actually had an audio to show that he truly did change his timeline. I know the defense said, well, technically, if the conservation officer said to Rick in 2017, were you on the trails between 1:30 to 3:30, which essentially was around the time they thought Abby and Libby were dropped off and the time they thought they were killed. So if Rick said, technically, yeah, I left around 1:30, so that means yes. However, we're gonna have to wait and see if the conservation officer even remembers that conversation with Rick. We'll see. Babu's Frick, it wasn't the filing, it was shouting that she knew nothing about the case. Well, the defense is so frustrated that they try it, she denies it without a hearing, and I can understand some of that at least. Ivy Push believes that Allen and Holman were going back and forth in that interview on October 26th. And I believe Holman said something wrong on purpose and Allen corrected him. Could be. Well, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what Judge Gall is going to say. I think the defense isn't the defense's reason for throwing out and suppressing that October 26th interview. Their only standing is that Rick was not specifically read his Miranda rights. McClellan filed something afterwards saying it was not a custodial interview, and Rick was able to get up and go take a smoke break. And also, there's this other thing where Miranda rights are good for up to 14 days, and this was 13 days after he was read his Miranda rights. So I guess May 21st to the 23rd are these hearings. Who knows when Judge Gull will rule on them. Ruckus, you're so far behind in chat, I thought I was watching Mr. Steve from True Crime Web. Yeah, it's hard falling behind on comments. Hi, DB, or not DB Cooper. The Saint, Tom is obviously, Rick is guilty, but skirts around it. No, I'm not. I'm honest. I'm not trying to like act like something I'm not. I point out everything that I think points towards Rick's innocence and guilt. I just did a video called The Case Against Richard Allen, where I show my spreadsheet of things that point towards Rick's guilt and innocence. And I truly do not feel like Rick's face like jumps out to me in the Bridge Guy video. I do think Bridge Guy has a shorter body and small feet that do match Rick. I have not heard enough of Rick's voice to make a decision if he could be the Bridge Guy voice. But yeah, I'm not like secretly thinking, oh, Rick is definitely guilty, and I'm trying to like not trigger people who think he's innocent. I don't care. Like, I don't need like strangers to think the same thing I do just to like validate my thoughts. So I'm just waiting for the trial to hear the final evidence before I make a decision. And I said, if I had to vote today, I would vote Rick not guilty, because I have not seen enough to say beyond a reasonable doubt. But I definitely have a lot of like these questions about noon to 1:30 not adding up. Like whatever, I've talked about it before, but we'll see. Didn't I say 3 more comments? Hi, Melanie. In McClellan's response, he says the defense team has had the evidence and has helped them find it. I haven't seen any proof the defense is correct about that. Yeah. He said that they had everything, but not the standard operating procedures or the chain of custody documents. That was the most recent one. Jane from the country, motive, what can it be? The only thing I can think of is like Bridge Guy wanted to see 2 girls do things to each other, period. I mean, why would one girl be found totally without any kind of clothing? I'd be pushed. If I was Alan and I knew I was innocent, I would be banging and screaming, I am innocent. Get me some decent attorneys. Well, why would Rick think his attorneys are not decent? What have they done? Does Rick even want to go to a county jail? I would assume so, but I don't know. Who knows? Does he really want to expose himself to being around other inmates? He's 5'5" and he's an alleged double child killer. Also, if he's having mental issues, does he want to go to a county jail where they only have mental health professionals up to once a week compared to, I think, 24 hours a day at a prison? All right, 2 more, and then I swear that's it. I'm so far behind. Sorry. Hi, Michael. Well, wait till you hear about Libby's funeral sign-in sheet. Like 9 different people told me about that. 4 of them being right about separate other things they told me. The only rumor I've heard about that is that Rick's wife signed in but used her maiden last name, so not Allen. Why would she do that? Because she, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what's up with that. Did I say one more comment after this? All right, this is the last comment. We're at a little over an hour. SP74, wanting Libby's phone data suppressed is a slap in the face to Libby, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't understand why they would want the bridge guy video to be suppressed. If your client is not the man on the bridge and not the man in this video, and it's not his voice, and you've talked to him multiple times and you know his voice sounds different, why would you not want to say to the jury, look at this video, this is not our client, and you can hear his voice and it's not similar? Obviously, the prosecution has access to Rick on the phone or the tablet to his wife, so they have like a similar, I don't know, I don't want to say audio quality, because I think Libby's bridge guy video audio has been altered to whatever, make it more clear. So why is the defense trying to get rid of Libby's video if Rick is innocent? All right, that's it for today. So happy Mother's Day to everybody, even cat and dog moms. I said, yeah, I've been doing these weekly update live chats on the weekends, but next week I'm not going to do them on Saturday or Sunday. So this hearings are May 21st, 22nd, 23rd. I might do one, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I might do one Monday, the 20th at night, just to do like the latest updates over the next 10 days. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, the 21st, 22nd, I will probably do updates from whatever was discussed at the hearings, whatever comes out. And then maybe the next Saturday, Sunday, I'll do my member chat and public chat. Thank you as always for joining and sharing your thoughts. What did I have here? Thank you, K Music, Stay Pressed Delulu, Bishes, Knockface, Janine, and also Kay again for your generosity. I appreciate all of you. Yeah, it's not a good update that we have to, not we, but the families and everybody involved has to actually wait another 6 months to hopefully get the final answer. Was Richard Allen bridge guy or not?